Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 13. Text 41. So we were reading The Advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the title of chapter 13. So we were reading that Mahaprabhu, in all four phases of his Leela, he always, that means his childhood pastimes, early boyhood, late boyhood, and youth, he always induced everyone to chant Hare Krishna when he was in Navadvip as a householder. And then when he took sannyas, then also in Jagannath Puri, he always performed kirtan, and he induced everyone to chant and dance in the kirtan. So his sannyas pastimes, first 6 years he was traveling, and the remaining 18 years he stayed in Puri continuously. And even in those 18 years, first 6 years, he was continuously performing kirtan and inducing everyone to chant and dance while staying in Puri. But the last 12 years, he was tasting the mellow of separation from Krishna, and he was also teaching everyone how to do that by tasting it himself. That's what we read yesterday. So from text 35, I'm reading. For 6 of these 24 years in Nilachal, he distributed love of Godhead by always chanting and dancing. Beginning from Cape Comorin and extending through Bengal to Vrindavan, during these 6 years, he toured all of India, chanting, dancing, and distributing love of Krishna. The activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his travels after he accepted sannyas are his principal pastimes. Also, we read that the Madhya Leela, those pastimes are the principal pastimes, and that is the biggest section of Chaitanya Charitamrita. His activities during his remaining 18 years are called the Antya Leela, or the final portion of his pastimes. For the 6 of the 18 years, he continuously stayed in Jagannath Puri. He regularly performed kirtan, inducing all the devotees to love Krishna simply by chanting and dancing. For the remaining 12 years, he stayed in Jagannath Puri. He taught everyone how to taste the transcendental mellow ecstasy of love of Krishna by tasting it himself. Day and night, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt separation from Krishna. Manifesting symptoms of this separation, he cried and talked very inconsistently like a madman. So this is like a rough overview, right? In sutra forms, we are reading at a glimpse the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll begin now. Text 41. Yeah, so Achintadev Prabhu can start. Sri Radhara pralapayaiche Uddhava darshane sei mata unmada pralapa kore ratri dine.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
As Srimati Radharani talked inconsistently when she met Uddhava, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished both day and night such ecstatic talk in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, we'll read the purport and then we can discuss. Arunita or Aditi Lata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
In this connection, one should refer to Srimati Radharani's soliloquy after meeting Uddhava in Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented a similar picture of such ecstatic imaginary talking, full of jealousy and madness, symptomizing neglect by Krishna. Srimati Radharani, criticizing a bumblebee, talked just like a mad woman. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the last days of his pastimes, exhibited all the symptoms of such ecstasy. In this connection, one should refer to the 4th chapter of the Adi Leela, verses 107 and 108. Hare Krishna.
4th chapter of Adi Leela. So verses 104 and 107. Maybe quickly I can once again refer to that. But Srimati Radharani is the topmost devotee. She experiences the highest. So I was telling you about sadhu prakara, right? There are different levels of devotees. So we know we have Kanishta devotees, Madhyam devotees, and Uttama devotees. And even in Uttama devotees, again, there is gradation. So how do you know who is a higher devotee? Someone who has a higher amount of prema, and someone who has, like somebody who is experiencing the sweet qualities of Krishna. And someone may experience one quality, another devotee may experience two qualities. So whoever is experiencing the most number of qualities of Krishna. And also sometimes devotees have some murchita kashaya. Murchita kashaya means, let's say for example, Narad Muni. Narad Muni, in his previous life as a boy, when he went to the forest, he performed tapasya and he heard the voice of the Lord. He could see the Lord within his antakarana, and then he just lost that darshan, and he was getting very much disturbed. So then he heard the voice of the Lord that said, in this life you will not be able to see me again. That was just given to give some, so why he would not be able to see the Lord again? Because you have not matured yet. That means, in what sense? He still had some murchita. Murchita means, like, fainted, right? Somebody who faints, you say it's murcha. That means he has some contamination. Kashaya means contamination, but it's not really contamination. That contamination is like a person who's fainted, like that. That means it's not going to harm in any way. Nevertheless, it is still there. Whereas Nirdhuta Kashaya means absolutely no impressions also, nothing is there. Like that. So that devotee is considered higher who has absolutely no impressions also. So in this way, if you look at the various devotees, who is the topmost devotee, who has the highest amount of love for Krishna, who relishes the most number of qualities of Krishna, and who's free from all types of any types of impressions of contamination, highest amount of prema is Srimati Radharani. You see, in prema, there are 7 stages within prema also. So the topmost stage is called Mahabhava, highest level of prema. That's only there with Srimati Radharani, nobody else. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna with the bhava of Srimati Radharani, the Mahabhava of Srimati Radharani. That is why in the last 12 years of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela on this earth, he actually exhibited this Mahabhava where, and what is the highest type of ecstasy is this Vipralamba, that separation which one experiences from the Lord. That is the highest ecstasy which Srimati Radharani experienced. So when Uddhava was sent to Vrindavan by Krishna with a letter, he saw what was the exalted position of Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. So she actually I think this morning we were discussing that an advanced devotee to an ordinary person, he looks like a madman. His activities appear incoherent. They appear like a mad person's activities. So Srimati Radharani's activities, she was addressing a bumblebee as if that was Krishna, and she was chastising like that. So it's like far, far beyond even what we can comprehend. What to speak of being there, but we cannot even understand. It's above, way above our level of comprehension. So, but Mahaprabhu actually, that is why he is compared here to Srimati Radharani. So, as Srimati Radharani talked inconsistently when she met Uddhava, so also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished both day and night such ecstatic talk in the mode of Srimati Radharani. So he was completely in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and he would be talking like that in separation from Krishna. Who? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the last 12 years. So, okay, I wanted to refer. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying you should refer to verses 107 and 108 in Adi Lila. Because if I went in this, then again coming back may be difficult. I'll just see here. Adi Lila, which chapter? Chapter 4, verses 107 and 108. I'll just read it out to you. Yeah, 107 says, in the final portion of his pastimes, Lord Chaitanya was obsessed with the madness of separation from Lord Krishna. He acted in erroneous ways and talked deliriously. Just as Radhika went mad at the sight of Uddhava, so Lord Chaitanya was obsessed day and night with the madness of separation. And of course, there's a purport to that. Lord Sri Chaitanya exhibited the highest stage of feelings of a devotee in separation from the Lord. This exhibition was sublime because he was completely perfect in the feelings of separation. Materialists, however, cannot understand this. Sometimes materialistic scholars think he was diseased or crazy about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Their problem is that they always engage in material sense gratification and can never understand the feelings of the devotees and the Lord. Yeah. We were discussing the other day about consciousness, right? Our consciousness is stuck here. So then, and it's like we are used to seeing a lame person. Like I am lame myself, right? I'm lame, right? I have only one leg, let's say. And everyone in this world is also handicapped. Yeah, handicapped. Everyone in this world is handicapped. I am also handicapped. All of a sudden, if I see someone who has no deformity in the body, what will I think? Because I have always been used to seeing handicapped people, and I myself am handicapped. When I see someone who is not handicapped, I think something wrong with this person. That's the thing. So we are all, our consciousness is stuck in this material world. So therefore, a materialistic person, when he sees someone who is in the whose consciousness is in the spiritual world, and when he sees his activities, he'll think this is abnormal. This is not normal. Being materialistic is normal. Acting like this is abnormal. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying here. That materialists are most abominable in their ideas. They think that they can enjoy directly perceivable gross objects by their senses, and that they can similarly deal with the transcendental features of Lord Chaitanya. But the Lord is understood only in pursuance of the principles laid down by the Goswamis headed by Swarup Damodar. Doctrines like those of the Nadiya Nagaris, a class of so-called devotees, are never presented by authorized persons like Swarup Damodar or the six Goswamis. The ideas of the Gauranga Nagaris are simply a mental concoction. So that means those symptoms which are exhibited by Srimati Radharani or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they cannot be imitated. People try to imitate, but that is not reality. That is not reality. The Sahajiyas do that. But those who are authorized, like Swarup Damodar Goswami or the six Goswamis, they have given us the principles, right? How to actually appreciate a pure devotee, how to recognize a pure devotee, and what is the path that we should follow. We should follow in their footsteps. And even to follow in their footsteps, we need a qualification. That's the point. And 108, Radhika. Just as Radhika went mad at the sight of Uddhava, so Lord Chaitanya was obsessed day and night with the madness of separation. Prabhupada is saying in the purport, those under the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that his mode of worship of the Supreme Lord Krishna in separation is the real worship of the Lord. So what did the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? The six Goswamis, do you ever hear them saying that, oh, I saw Krishna last night, I saw Raslila last night? Do you ever see them? So they're always looking, where is Krishna? Where is Radharani? Where are you, O gopis? That's what we find in their writings. Hey Radhe Vrajadevi Kecha Lalite, Hey Nanda Suno Kutaha. Where are you? Where are you? Are you on Govardhan Hill? Are you under the Kadamba tree? Are you on the banks of Yamuna River? Where are you? Where are you? When will that day come? That is the mood. They're always in separation. So, the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are in this mode of worship, that they are always feeling separation, and that is the real form of worship of the Lord. When the feelings of separation become very intense, one attains the stage of meeting Sri Krishna. I must have told this in the past also, but it's like, how is it that separation is actually the highest ecstasy? You see, there is a lot of pain in separation. In separation, there's a lot of suffering, but there is so much suffering, so much suffering. So it is the way it is explained is like dry ice, dry ice. So dry ice, what does ice do? Ice is very cold, isn't it? When you touch it, it's supposed to cool you down, isn't it? Ice. But dry ice is so extremely cold that when you touch it, it is so cold that when you touch it, it gives you the opposite effect. It burns your hand. You literally get a burn by touching dry ice. This Vipralamba Bhav is like that. It is so painful, so painful, so painful. When one reaches the limit of that, you actually get pleasure. The highest form of pleasure, which is just the opposite of suffering. That's why Vipralamba is the highest form of ecstasy. So here it is said, when the feelings of separation become very intense, one attains the stage of meeting Sri Krishna. And that separation is more, pleasurable than directly meeting Krishna. Meeting Krishna in separation, out of separation, when you meet Krishna means in separation. What happens in separation? Like the gopis, they're always thinking of Krishna constantly, because there's so much separation. They're constantly meditating on Krishna. And in that meditation, when they meet Krishna, that gives the highest form of ecstasy as compared to when they physically go and meet Krishna. So-called devotees like the Sahajiyas cheaply imagine they are meeting Krishna in Vrindavan. Such thinking may be useful, but actually meeting Krishna is possible through the attitude of separation taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are the two verses that Srila Prabhupada quoted. So I just read them to you. We'll continue reading now. Text 42. Vidyapati Jayadeva Chandidasera Gita Aswadena Ramananda Swarupa Sahita. Translation. So I think Arunita read already.
No, Mataji.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
The
Krishna.
Lord, the Lord used to read the books of Vidyapati, Jayadeva, and Chandidasa, relishing their songs with his confidential associates like Sri Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So just what are we reading now? This is in a sutra form, whatever is going to be discussed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, first in the beginning, like a table of contents. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is giving in sutras what all are going to be discussed. Okay. So the Lord used to read the books of, so now we are in which phase? He is in the last 12 years of his pastimes. He is in Jagannath Puri and he is in the last 12 years. So what would the Lord do at that time? He used to read the books of Vidyapati, Jayadev and Chandidas, relishing their songs with his confidential associates like Sri Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami. Another important point is when Mahaprabhu was in front of public, so now he went into seclusion. He's only associating with his confidential associates. But when he was in public where thousands and millions of people were there, he would never discuss the confidential pastimes of Radha Krishna there. He would simply induce everyone to chant Hare Krishna. And the past he would not discuss. And what were the pastimes he would hear? He would be hearing Prahlad Maharaj's pastimes, Dhruv Maharaj's pastimes again and again. That's what he would do. But the confidential pastimes he would only discuss with the intimate associates like Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Paramananda Puri, like that. So, but towards the final, now he is not doing the public programs, right? Is very much internal now, and he had his intimate associates. So what are the books at that time that Mahaprabhu would read? These are the books by or songs by Vidyapati, Jayadeva Goswami and Chandidas, relishing their songs with his confidential associates like Sri Ramananda Rai. Who is Ramananda Rai? Sakhi, Vishakha Gopi, and Swarup Damodar is Lalita Gopi. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radharani. So Radharani discussing with Lalita and Vishakha, like that. Very, very intimate, most intimate associates. Only with them he's discussing. What is he discussing? The songs by Vidyapati, Jayadev and Chandidas. So they are going to talk about Radha Krishna Leela, the confidential pastimes. Purport. Krishna Shish. No. Isha.
Vidyapati was a famous composer of songs about the pastimes of Radha Krishna. He was an inhabitant of Mithila, born in a Brahmana family. It is calculated that he composed his songs during the reign of King Shiva Simha and Queen Lachima Devi in the beginning of the 14th century of the Shaka era, almost 100 years before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The 12th generation of Vidyapati's descendants is still living. Vidyapati's songs about the pastimes of Lord Krishna express intense feelings of separation from Krishna, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished all those songs in his ecstasy of separation from Krishna.
Yeah. So first we are hearing about Vidyapati. Who is Vidyapati? Vidyapati was a famous composer of songs about the pastimes of Radha Krishna. Same with Jayadev Goswami also, right? So songs about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Where is he from? Vidyapati from Mithila, born in a Brahmin family. It is calculated that he composed his songs during the reign of King Shiva Simha and Queen Lachima Devi in the beginning of the 14th century of the Shaka era, almost 100 years before the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's what we need to know. Vidyapati, he wrote the songs 100 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, and he is from Mithila, means Bihar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Bengal. The 12th generation of Vidyapati's descendants is still living. This is at the time of Srila Prabhupada is writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. The 12th generation from Vidyapati was still living. Vidyapati's songs about the pastimes of Lord Krishna express intense feelings of separation from Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished all those songs in his ecstasy of separation from Krishna. Next, Krishna Shish.
There was born during the reign of Maharaj Lakshman Sen of Bengal in the 11th or 12th century of the Shaka era. His father was Bhojadeva and his mother was Navadevi. For many years he lived in Navadvip, then the capital of Bengal. His birthplace was in the Birbhum district, in the village Kendu Bilwa. In the opinion of some authorities, however, he was born in Orissa, and still others say that he was born in southern India. He passed the last days of his life in Jagannath Puri. One of his famous books is Gita Govinda, which is full of transcendental mellow feelings of separation from Krishna. The gopis felt separation from Krishna before the rasa dance, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Gita Govinda expresses such feelings. There are many commentaries on the Gita Govinda by many Vaishnavas.
Yes. So next, Jayadev Goswami. Jayadev Goswami, about him, even in Navadvip, there is the home of Jayadev Goswami. And he appeared long before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, because Chandidas was 100 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that was in the 14th century, which was 100 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whereas Jayadev Goswami appeared in the 11th or maybe 12th century. So at least several hundred years before the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there are different opinions where he is from, but certainly when we go on Navadvip Mandal Parikrama, we are taken, to the place where Jayadev Goswami lived. So for many years he lived in Navadvip, which used to be the capital of Bengal. His birthplace was in the Birbhum district in the village Kendu Bilwa. So this is in Bengal. That's his birthplace, but he lived in Navadvip. Okay. But some other authorities feel that he was born in Orissa, not in Birbhum, but he was born in Orissa. And others say that he was born in South India, because there are his pastimes in South India also. So exactly where he appeared may not be clear, but we have different opinions from different authorities. But the last days of his life, he lived in Jagannath Puri. And one of his famous books is Gita Govinda. And there are so many, dances and songs and performances done on Gita Govinda. So, and also everyone is familiar with that. So it's full of transcendental mellow feelings of separation from Krishna. So what is Gita Govinda? The gopis' feelings of separation from Krishna before the rasa dance. That is the topic of Gita Govinda. And many commentaries are written by many Vaishnava acharyas. Madhava, you can read the next paragraph.
Chandidas was born in the village of Nanura, which is also in the Birbhum district of Bengal. He was born of a Brahmin family, and it is said that he also took birth in the beginning of the 14th century, Sakabda era. It has been suggested that Nandidasa and Vidyapati were great friends, because the writings of both express the transcendental feelings of separation profusely. The feelings of ecstasy described by Chandidas and Vidyapati were actually exhibited by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He realized all these feelings in the role of Srimati Radharani, and his appropriate associate for this purpose were Sri Ramananda Rai and Sri Swarupa Damodar Goswami. These intimate associates of Lord Sri Mahaprabhu helped the Lord very much in the pastime and once he felt like Radharani.
Yeah. So Chandidas is a contemporary of Vidyapati, same 100 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he also wrote songs about Radha Krishna pastimes, especially feelings of separation. And whatever is written by him, those were actually witnessed in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So also it is said that they were great friends. Chandidas and Vidyapati were great friends because there's a lot of similarity in their writings. They express feelings of separation profusely. Okay. Next, Rasapriya.
Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in this connection that such feelings of separation as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed from the books of Vidyapati,
Chandidas,
and Balaram are especially reserved for persons like Sri Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, who are Paramahamsas, men of the topmost perfection, because of their advanced spiritual consciousness. Such topics are not to be discussed by ordinary persons, meditating the activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For critical students of mundane poetry and
literary men
without God consciousness, who are after bodily sense gratification, there is no need to reach such a high standard of transcendentalism.
persons.
For after sense gratification, should not try to imitate Raganga devotional service. The songs of Chandidas, Vidyapati, and Jayadev describe the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mundane
Reviews.
simply help people in general become
Debauchees.
and this leads only to social scandals and atheism in the world. Once the Dhamma must understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be the activities of a mundane young boy and girl. The mundane sexual activities of young boys and girls are most abominable. Therefore, those who are in bodily consciousness and who desire sense gratification are forbidden to indulge in discussions of transcendental pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna.
Yes. So that is why you don't see that we discuss pastimes of Radha and Krishna in ISKCON. We don't discuss because this is not meant for the masses. For the masses, we should discuss Bhagavad Gita. And when they become serious, then you discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, they will commit offenses because their consciousness is still stuck in this world. Radha Krishna pastimes are meant for the liberated souls. That's what Srila Prabhupada is also saying. And we see Srila Prabhupada never encouraged, even on Radhashtami, if you hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures on Radhashtami, you don't see Srila Prabhupada talking about Radha Krishna Leela. At most, he may slightly mention a little bit about the appearance of Srimati Radharani. Like that. But when some exalted Vaishnava speaks, then we can hear in the class sometimes some devotee, because by their power they purify the atmosphere. So then even if I am not at that level, because of that atmosphere created for that much time, I also become, by the mercy of that sadhu, I'm able to actually get the mercy. I'm able to relish it. But it's not recommended that you just get the books, like the songs by Chandidas and Vidyapati, Jayadev Goswami, and start reading them. No, because we are still stuck with lust, anger, greed in this world. So therefore, even art, Radha Krishna, you see how people make art of Radha Krishna in a very sensuous way. It's offensive actually. It should not be done. Because the fact is, when you hear about Radha Krishna pastimes, what should happen is, even whatever mundane lust is there in our heart, that all becomes cleared. So that happens when you hear from pure devotees. When you simply see, and if you're trying to satisfy your mundane lust through, like just like people watch some movies, some romantic movies like that, you want to hear about Radha Krishna pastimes and get some pleasure from that, we will be destroying ourselves by doing that. So that's the topmost subject matter meant for the liberated souls. We should keep those pastimes, on our head with great reverence, with great reverence. So anyway, I'll just read that again. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in this connection that such feelings of separation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed from the books of Vidyapati, Chandidas and Jayadev are especially reserved for persons like Sri Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami. Who are they? Lalita and Vishakha Sakhis. They are Paramahamsas, men of the topmost perfection, right? The Uttama Bhaktas that we were discussing. It's meant for them, topmost, because of their advanced spiritual consciousness. They are not meant for, sadhana bhaktas or what to speak of lower than that. No. Such topics are not to be discussed by ordinary persons imitating the activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the problem. When someone becomes a sahajiya, they start they bring the topmost thing to their level. For critical students of mundane poetry and literary men without God consciousness who are after bodily sense gratification, this is not a subject for academic education to be discussed in colleges and schools. There is no need to read such a high standard of transcendental literature. Persons who are after sense gratification should not try to imitate Raganuga devotional service. Raganuga devotional service begins at the stage of Ruchi itself. But even that Raganuga devotional service is very, very high for us. It's very, very high. What to speak of someone who is in Prema and what to speak of Srimati Radharani who is in Mahabhav. It's way, way beyond our limits. The songs of Chandidas, Vidyapati and Jayadev describe the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mundane reviewers of the song, they are reviewing these songs. They simply help people in general become debauchees. And this leads only to social scandals and atheism in the world. One should not misunderstand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be the activities of a mundane young boy and girl. People make serials on television about Radha Krishna pastimes. It's very bad. First of all, the person who is making those movies, he doesn't have any realization. He's not a devotee. And if he doesn't, it's like you can only give someone something which you have. If you don't have it, how you can give someone? So what is the message that you want to make some romantic drama? Just take some other characters, not Radha Krishna. They are doing great disservice. What happens? If you introduce this to the people in general, you are making them into debauchees. The mundane sexual activities of young boys and girls are most abominable. Therefore, those who are in bodily consciousness, how many of us can say, I'm not in bodily consciousness? Those who are in bodily consciousness and who desire sense gratification are forbidden to indulge in discussions of the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. That's all. Text 43. Krishna Ravi Yoge Jata Prema Cheshtita Aswadiya Purna Koila Apana Vanchita. Translation, Priyanka Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Prabhupada.
In separation from Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished all these ecstatic activities and thus he fulfilled his own desires.
Yeah. In separation from Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished all these ecstatics. This is the highest ecstasy. There is suffering. So when we come to the Antilila, we will see what kind of, the devotees' hearts were breaking to see Mahaprabhu going through. He would be, externally you will see he's suffering like anything, but there's great spiritual ecstasy in that separation. So he relished all these ecstatic activities and he fulfilled his own desires. So he was tasting it himself and he's also teaching us. Purport, Radhika Kasturi Mataji, you're able to read?
Yes, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Pranams Mataji.
Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
In the beginning of Caitanya Caritamrita, it is said that Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to taste the feelings of Radharani felt upon seeing Krishna. Krishna himself could not understand the ecstatic feelings of Radharani towards him. and therefore he desired to accept the role of Radharani and thereby taste these feelings. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna with the feelings of Radharani. In other words, he is the combination of Radha and Krishna. It is therefore said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. By worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone, one can relish the loving affairs. One can relish the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna together. One should therefore try to understand Radha and Krishna not directly, but through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and through his devotees. Sri Narottama Das Thakura therefore says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti Khabe Hama Buja Haba Se Yugala Priti. When shall I develop a mentality of service towards Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and other devotees of Lord Chaitanya, and thus become eligible to understand the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna?
Yeah. So Radha Krishna pastimes are most confidential. We don't have access to Radha Krishna pastimes. It's only because of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and especially Radha and Krishna together. You may see worship of Krishna in South India. You may see like Udupi Krishna, right? Before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there was worship of Krishna, but not in Madhurya Bhav. Madhurya Bhav means conjugal relationship, Gopi Bhav. That is exclusively in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Beginning with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, Madhavendra Puri before him. But it was given to everyone. Everyone came to know about it only from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, if we are trying to approach Radha Krishna directly without going through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are actually fooling ourselves, cheating ourselves. See, when we follow Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, rules and regulations, we can only go to Vaikuntha. And if you're following Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, worshipping Krishna, you can at most go to Dwaraka. Krishna is a king. That means in Aishwarya. But Vrindavan is Madhurya. Unless someone from Golok Vrindavan Dham comes here and gives it to us, we have no access. And nobody from Golok Vrindavan Dham comes here to give. Only because here it's Raganuga, what we follow here is rules and regulations. And what they do there is Raganuga Bhakti. So where do you find candidates if you come to this world, Raganuga Bhaktas? I once heard this in a lecture of Srila Bhakticharu Maharaj. So the beauty of Chaitanya or the genius of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is actually a Brajvasi, Radharani. He is coming from Golok Vrindavan Dham. He is Krishna and he is Radharani, Gopi. But he is coming here and he is engaging us in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So that means we are qualified to do Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. But by following, if you simply followed Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, you can only go up to Vaikuntha, maybe at the most to Dwaraka. But by doing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, who are you following here? On whose instruction you're doing? And whose instructions are you following? You're following the instructions of a Brajvasi. So although you're following Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, because you're following a Brajvasi, you will actually, if you're following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will go to Golok Vrindavan Dham. You will go to Golok Vrindavan Dham. Therefore, if someone does not take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has no access to Radha Krishna worship. And if someone is imagining that, we saw, right, some devotees, they don't accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Lord, but they are like, oh, Vrindavan, Radha Krishna, they worship. You don't have access to Radha Krishna. You don't have access to Radha Krishna. Only through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu you will have access to Radha Krishna. That's what I heard in that lecture. So I'll just read
Not
this
in other
part.
sampradayas, even Mataji?
No,
No,
only Gaudiya
Nimbarkacharya?
Sampradaya. You heard anything like that? Nimbarkacharya? No.
They chant that mantra, na, which like Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. So they have different. So they have like we say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So there's Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radha Radha.
I'm not aware, Mataji. I don't know.
Okay.
But this much I know, that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas only have this highest, this Madhurya Prema. It's only available in Gaudiya Vaishnavas, not anywhere else. You may find up to, Vatsalya Bhav, right? Sakhya, Vatsalya, Dasya you may find in other places. But especially this Vraj, even if you have Vatsalya and Dasya, it's not. You see, there's two. There's one is Aishwarya Yukta, one is Madhurya Maya. Aishwarya Yukta means it's only, the limit is up to Dwaraka, not beyond that. But in Vrindavan, there is no tinge of Aishwarya. It's only sweet pastimes, Madhurya. There's no Aishwarya there. So nobody has access there unless you are a Brajbasi. So Brajbasis don't come here. Only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. Of course, Krishna comes also. But when Krishna comes, people didn't understand, right? That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came again. What is the last instruction that Krishna gave? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. But people didn't understand that. You don't see people becoming, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when you follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you have access. Well, now question comes, what about Chandidas, Vidyapati and Jayadev Goswami? So, yeah, I don't know. They came before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhavendra Puri.
Yeah,
Huh?
they're probably coming from Golaka only, Mataji, doing just
Yeah, part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, right?
Yeah.
Coming before him. Yeah,
creating
part
this
of the
whole
Leela.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. That's how we can, like even Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri came and, then Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, they all, took initiation from Madhavendra Puri. Then Madhavendra Puri's disciple Ishwar Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's all part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela only. But yeah, otherwise in Sampradayas you don't find Gaudiya, you don't find this Madhurya Vrindavan relationship, especially Radha Krishna worship. You don't find. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji.
So, yeah, I'll just read Prabhupada's purport. One last one will end there. So, Krishna himself could not understand the ecstatic feelings of Radharani toward him, and therefore he desired to accept the role of Radharani and thereby taste these feelings. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna with the feelings of Radharani. In other words, he is a combination of Radha and Krishna. It is therefore said Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. That means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Radha Krishna. By worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone, see, why would Srila Prabhupada make such a bold statement if that's not true? By worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone, one can relish the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna together, Radha Krishna together. Otherwise, worshipping only Krishna, yes, it's there. Like you have Nathadwar, right? Srinathji or Udupi Krishna. Worshipping Krishna is there. But Radha Krishna together, one should therefore try to understand Radha Krishna not directly, but through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and through his devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. That means Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Srila Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bujhabase Yugala Piriti. Yes, taking shelter of Rupa Raghunath. Who are Rupa Raghunath? They are the direct disciples, followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then only I'll be able to understand. Bujhaba means you'll know. I'll be able to know what is the love of Radha Krishna. Only when I get the mercy of Rupa Raghunath. When shall I develop a mentality of service towards Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami and other devotees of Lord Chaitanya and thus become eligible to understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Sri Radha and Krishna. So of course, again, as Srila Prabhupada makes it clear again and again, that is the goal, but to reach the goal, we have to go step by step. We cannot directly jump to Raganuga Bhakti. That would become Sahajiyas, trying to jump there directly without getting the qualification. So whatever procedure Srila Prabhupada has given us, that is the way. And he is coming in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if we follow Srila Prabhupada, means we are following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that means we can understand the love of Radha Krishna. So I will end here. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining. Tomorrow is Saturday. So tomorrow morning we will not have Bhagavatam. I have a class at the temple tomorrow morning. And tomorrow evening we will be reading Chaitanya Bhagavat. Hare